Okay, morning folks. Welcome to the briefing on Saturday the 17th of October. For those of you who've looked out the window, you can see there's quite a lot of cloud about, and it appears to be associated with these sort of very, very weak frontal systems dragging air in off the North Sea. They are very, very weak. They're pretty much cloud features, and I think they'll burn off during the day. Isobars within there, you can see the spacing, so there's very, very little wind. And the TAFs, for example, for Farnborough are suggesting 020 4 knots, Gatwick 030 5 knots, so very, very light winds indeed. Farnborough not really suggesting when it'll clear, but Gatwick are saying occasional scattered at 2,500 feet, but temporary between 8 and 11, broken at 1,200 feet. So you've got low cloud for a little bit coming and going. Trouble is, we're sat on a little bit of a hill around here, so it does tend to form around us. I think it's going to be late morning before it actually becomes flyable, but you never know, we might be lucky and get a slot earlier than that. The upper winds aren't really that much stronger, to be honest. I mean, down in the channel, they're always a little bit stronger, 090, 15 knots, but generally around us at 1,000 feet and 2,000 feet, max I think you'll see is 10 knots northeasterly. So fairly light. Cloud amounts, well, I think it's going to be cloudy all day, really. Generally, you might see some breaks, but cloud will just rise up slowly, but still be pretty solid overcast. There's sort of evidence that it is sort of between the two fronts here. This is one of them coming down through here, the other one round here. Not moving very quickly. Even this little gap here across the Midlands is only moving very, very slowly southwards. There's no real rain associated with it. There's a sort of small line of rain that was here this morning, dissipated, and this one's just fizzled out. So I don't think we're going to see any dampness or drizzle during the morning before it breaks up. But once the temperatures go up, I think then we'll start to see the clouds breaking up and things getting a little better. You're looking at probably similar to yesterday, I suspect, 13, 14 degrees, I think, by the early afternoon, and maybe a little bit warmer if the sun does suddenly pop through in some places. Top Meteo are giving the similar sort of picture, really, perhaps a bit more optimistic in terms of the cloud breaking up later in the day. That's 10 o'clock, showing gaps occasionally, but they're still showing this lower stuff here. I think it's hit and miss where that's going to be. Let's say I think generally it'll be reasonably cloudy for most of the day, rising up. Hopefully by early afternoon, cloud base about 2,500 feet. I think small chance, a little bit like yesterday, local soaring. Nothing until sort of midday onwards probably, and then at best 600 to 700 meters, 2,000, 2,500 feet maybe, and then shutting itself down as the late afternoon goes on. So hopefully we'll get flying sometime in the morning, reasonable afternoons flying, and okay for the evening youth group. And it's a very, very similar picture tomorrow, really, with the same sort of cloud amounts to start off with, and then beginning to break up as the morning goes on. Cumulus and a little bit of soaring with spread out, and I suspect the spread out is going to be pronounced tomorrow, and again about 2,500 feet at best. The deterioration really appears to take place late Monday, Tuesday, as the low pressure that's centred over sort of west of England at that time then starts to feed in fronts and rain and pretty strong southerly winds. Okay, so operating today, airspace wise, no NOTAMs, local to us, still bits of parachuting and paragliding here and there in aerobatics up near Gransden. The only restricted airspace is Old Warden, which have their air display on today and tomorrow. I've just put something on here as a reminder to members about one of our operations. Now, we operate our vehicles, our gators and our retrieve trucks, for airfield use, but they do tend to spend some time trotting back to the clubhouse, back and forwards, and we're noticing this becoming a sort of common feature, not only because you see them there, but because in the last couple of years we've damaged at least 3 members' cars with both the gators and the retrieve truck, and especially parked in this area here. So folks, if you bring these vehicles back to the clubhouse, please park them on the grass area inside the perimeter track. Do not stick them in here. This area here is for members parking their cars only. We really need to segregate club vehicles and members' cars, because I can assure you that the members' cars come off far worse than our Toyota or the Gators. They're designed to hit things and they are resilient. So I'll be putting something out fairly shortly to remind members about this, but I'd like you to adhere to this today, folks, and from now on. Okay, we're operating on 09, standard setup, cables on the south side grass with the gliders on the grass, winch launching and aero towing from the north side of the launch point vehicle on the runway. Okay, hopefully we'll start getting the gliders out and I'll see you out there shortly.